Hello and welcome to the second part of the zombie shooter series. Today we will shoot bullets and rotate our characters around. But first we have to fix a small issue from last episode. The following issue is occurring. The zombie is not moving always on the same speed due to a small normalization issue we have. Well, we didn't normalize the direction that we are moving towards. So let's fix that. Yes, so we're in Visual Studio, and as you can see we're doing the target position minus the transform position, which will give us the move direction. If we normalize this value, that should already fix our current issue of the speed. So let's get back to Unity. And let's press play. And as you can see, the movement speed stays the same due to the normalization that we just applied to it. So that's the small fix that we had to do. Let's get back to the episode now. Okay, let's first draw our character. So our character looks sort of like this. The head is on the right side, and so that's the up direction or the forward direction. What we're now drawing, that line and the arrow. And this is the right direction. So this is the side that the player has to, that's the side that it looks towards. So by using that knowledge, we know how to change the look direction. So the look direction is sort of the right direction. So if we change the right direction towards the location we are, the mouse is, so that direction, it should already work for us. And for the enemy, it's the move direction, which should be right. So let's jump into Visual Studio and we'll implement this. So for the player, we need the camera because we use that to determine where on the screen our mouse is. And we will fetch that beforehand so that we can cache that knowledge, because else it will it's quite a heavy operation to do the camera domain as you're fetching it from the whole scene. Okay, so let's make a function. Let's call it rotate towards mouse. Okay, let's do that, and let's create that function. So we do private void, paste that, and make the function. Okay, let's implement it. So make vector 2, mouse direction is equal to camera dot screen to world point. We put the input of mouse position here, so we can get the mouse position relative to the screen. Okay, and now we can do a vector 2 again and do the direction towards the mouse. So that's the turn direction, which will be equal to mouse direction never mind, minus the transform dot position. But we will probably have to move the transform position outside of it because it's a vector 3 and well, it doesn't like it to be vector 2 minus vector 3 is not really that appreciated. So we change it and do it like this. Okay, and we change that to pos because it's not a direction, it's a position actually. So yeah, and we normalize this as well to make sure that we don't cause problems like we had, for example, with the enemy. And then we say transform.right is turn direction, which should do the trick for us, I think. And let's immediately add the private gun point, which will be the point that we will shoot the bullets from, because I know that we will need this, the transform dot gun point. That should be it. So let's first test out if it works in Unity. Okay, so yeah, let's press play and see what happens. Okay, so as you can see, we are rotating towards the mouse, so it all works fine, like we thought it would. So that's great. So yeah, let's do the same thing for the zombie then, that it actually doesn't move backwards towards us. So let's start by just copying this line as we will use the same behavior. We paste that there and we will just put the move direction there, and that should already do the trick for us. So let's go back to Unity to test it out. Okay, let's press play and see what happens. Okay, so it looks like it works as well for the zombie, so that's great. So yeah, let's get to the spawning of bullets and the shooting of the zombie. Okay, so back in the player script we'll do an if input dot get mouse button down 0, which will be the left mouse button. If we press that, we will call the shoot function, which we will now create. So we will private void shoot, and we will implement the functionality for it. Okay, so we go like we need a game object first, I think, or bullet. No, we need a game object. Never mind. So yeah, game object. We call it bullets because we are spawning a bullet. Is instantiate m bullets object, which will be the object that will spawn. So that will be the prefab. So yeah, and we set the position of that bullet to the shoot point, or was it? No, it's a m gun point. Never mind. Dot position, which will be the position of our gun. Okay, and that's it. So let's go back to Unity to create the bullet prefab. Yes. So let's go back to Unity. Okay, let's first get our sprite. So we will use this one because it sort of looks like a bullet. Let's drag it onto the place where we spawn the bullets, because that will be the place where we will spawn them. Let's half the size because I think that will look correct. Yes. That sort of looks correct. Let's change the name to bullet and go to scripts and create our bullet script. Like that. Okay. Go to bullets. If it loads. Yes. Okay. Cool. Drag it on top of it, and that should be it. Let's see. Okay. We need to set the values here. So first we create a prefab out of it. So we drag the bullet into the prefab folder, which will make it a prefab, and we can drag it onto the player script. Cool. Okay. So yeah, now we can create a new child for the player. We call it gun point, and we can position it to where the bullet should spawn, like here. Okay, cool. We can drag that onto the player object, and that should do the trick. Now back to the bullet, because we need colliders on it. We will add a... Oh, oops. We don't want this thing. We want a circle collider. Yes. Okay, cool. We set it to trigger. Oh, I misclicked, but never mind. Rigid body to it. Misclick it, and we set the gravity to 0 because we don't want it to fall out the sky. Okay, cool. Collider looks fine. Delete it again, and that should be it. Let's go back to Visual Studio. Okay, so first off, we will go to the bullet, delete this because we don't need it. We will create a public void init, which will take in a vector 2. Yes, and we call it a direction because we need the direction that the bullet has to travel in. In the player shoot, we will do bullet.get component. We get the bullet component out of it, and we call the init function. And we pass in the gun point. Yes, not right, which will give it the direction that the bullet has to travel in. Okay, and back at the bullet, we will get... No, never mind. We'll create a variable. Yes, we create a vector, private vector 2. Yeah, for the direction, so we call it m direction, and we set that equal to a direction. Okay, like that. And we'll create a void update, which we will use to move the bullet. And we'll create a private float for the speed. Make it serialized field because we can make we can change it in the editor, which is always nice. Yeah, and we can just copy this piece of code actually out of the character and use that to move it around with the direction that we already have. And we set this equal to 5 at the start, which will allow us to move it around. Yeah, that should be it. We also added destroy here, so that it will clean up after itself. We get a variable for lifetime. We set equal to 2.5f for float. We set that, and now the bullet will get destroyed after 2.5 seconds, which is correct. Okay, back in Unity, we can look at it, and it looks all correct, so that's fine. If we play, we can see already that we are able to shoot the bullet. but we cannot hit anything yet, which is a pity, of course, but we will get into that right away. Okay, let's get started by selecting both the player and the zombie, and we can add a capsule collider, maybe? No, never mind. A capsule collider is not great. We can add just a normal circle collider to them. Yes, that looks fine. Okay, we don't set it to trigger because we want it to collide with each other and push each other away when they hit each other. We do add a rigid body so we can check for collision. And we add a target tag to this. Yeah, called enemy, and that should be it, I think. So let's get back to the script. Okay, in the bullet we can add a on trigger enter 2D to it with the collision, and if the we'll change it to a other because that makes for me more sense. So if the other is tag compares is equal to enemy, so if it's tag enemy, then we know that we hit an enemy, and we can destroy the other object. So we do other, and we also destroy the bullet immediately because we don't need it anymore because it has hit one and we we don't hit two true enemies, right? Okay. Okay, let's try that. Oops. Oh, I think I made a mistake. I said layers instead of tags, so let's remove it from the layers and add the enemy tag like that, and we can set the tag to enemy. Okay, let's try it out again. And it doesn't work, and I think we are destroying only the collider component, so let's quickly fix that up. Let's try it out one more time to make sure. Yes, I can see that the collider is disappearing, so let's fix that. Okay, so I can immediately see the mistake. We need a other.gameObject which will destroy the game object instead of the collider. So let's see. Yes, so now we can destroy the game object and the zombie dies. Great, and as you can see the bullets disappear automatically after, well, 2.5 seconds. Great, okay. Yeah, it looks like to be it. I think we made a lot of progress. So I'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care. Bye.